Hello. So, as I've said before in this channel, I'm a rising junior with environmental science. And at Purdue, I'm involved in several activities that not only promote Purdue to prospective students, but also the field and major of environmental science. And so, over the course of my college career, I've asked myself, studying all these environmental science classes and all that stuff, how did this study come to be? How did this field become a thing? And so that's what we're going to go through in this video. We're going to talk about the what exactly is environmental science, what are the several aspects that make it up, and also how did it come to be, and how does it affect us to this day. So let's start off with what is environmental science? Environmental science is an interdisciplinary program that integrates several scientific fields like agronomy, biology, and chemistry in order to study the environment and our role as humans in it. Early in the 1800s, there were several fields of science that were specific to certain studies. Studies like botany were focused just on the study of plant, or geology was just focused on the study of rocks. However, in the mid 1800s, the field of ecology began to emerge. It didn't exactly focus on a specific plant or animal, but rather on the environment as a whole. Around this time, Romanticism began to occur, and with it became a sort of beginning in terms of the environmentalist movement that later peaked in the 1970s. Books like Man and Nature by George Perkins challenged the belief that the human impact on nature was generally benign or negligible. In 1872, Yellowstone, the first national park, was established. Fast forward to the early 1900s, and people like John came to prominence due to his love for nature and its beauty. His ecological thinking and philosophy caught the eye of the president at the time, Teddy Roosevelt, who later established, according to the Department of the Interior, 150 national forests, 51 federal bird reserves, 4 national game preserves, 5 national parks, and 18 national monuments on over 230 million acres of public land. After World War II, we saw what we could do to each other, and the belief that the environment was super big and that we couldn't really have a big impact on it, and any impact that we had was pretty negligible, was immediately dispersed after World War II because we saw what we could do to each other. I mean, we built bombs that were brighter than the sun when they exploded. The atomic bomb is what I'm alluding to. And so gone was that belief. So once the 1950s happened and people became settling back from the war, World War II veterans were coming back and starting families. People wanted to get comfortable and they wanted to have families and they wanted to have homes. And so essentially American industrial complex began producing at an exponential rate. People wanted fridges, automobiles, now plastics were becoming a new thing. And so the industry started pumping these out at a rapid pace without any regard to the environment. And so it wasn't long until people began to notice that the environment was starting to be severely degraded by our actions. In Cleveland, Ohio, the Cuyahoga River, if I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, from Indiana, so I'm pretty close. I should know how to. But that caught fire famously in 1952. But that actually wasn't the first time that that happened. That was the ninth time that it had happened since 1868. And even actually before the 1950s, even during World War II, in LA, for example, the smog was so bad that oftentimes when it occurred and got really bad, people would actually confuse it as some Japanese gas attack because it was so hazy and so toxic to breathe in. And so when I mean our effects on it, I mean air quality and water quality and all that such. And we scientists began to research ways on how to look into these things. And then once comes the 1970s, then we begin to start acting on it with like the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, and many much more acts that helped clean up the environment and preserve it. The 1970s still to this day is regarded as the peak of environmentalism because that's when essentially the public was united in that we need to help and protect and preserve the environment. You even had Earth Day. The first Earth Day came out, and so really, really an amazing time to be environmentalist during the 70s. And especially now more than ever with climate change and deforestation and pollution and all that. I think that's what I love most about environmental science is that it causes us to have to cooperate with one another and sort of connect with other branches of science. And overall again, just uh, enforces, if you will, cooperation in order to solve these problems. And so that's what I love. It's a lot of collaboration in order to solve some of the world's most challenging problems. And so if you are a prospective student or you're someone who's looking to go to college and you don't really know what you're aiming for, then perhaps environmental science is for you because it was for me. So hope this video helped. Feel free to like and subscribe as well as just leave any comments on what you think of the video. Thanks, guys.